Is it actually better to sell your home in the spring or the summer in Northern Virginia?
I'm Kim Barber with Kim Barber Group and eXp Realty, and I've helped thousands of owners and agents with real estate since 2004.
Virginia. Quite honestly, this could be the same answer for anywhere in the United States. So most people assume that spring is the best time to sell. And yes, you do typically see more activity, but here's what most people don't realize. Pricing between the spring and early summer really doesn't change that much. So in markets like in Fairfax County, Loudoun County, and quite honestly, I don't work in California, I don't work in these other territories, but I can assume that this might be similar. So going back into the markets of Northern Virginia, what we typically see is that inventory increases in the spring and then going into the summer. And so it stays relatively strong in the summer. That's when the school's out and people start to think that, oh, it must be better then. But what happens, the buyer demand is active during both of those sessions. And so what really happens is that more homes hit the market in the spring and summer. And people, I just had this question today, when the kids are out, is that a great time? Well, what happens is, yes, more houses might come on the market, but there's more sellers that you're competing against. Okay. So, as more homes hit the market, there's also plenty of buyers to buy in the spring. There's actually plenty of buyers that buy kind of after the Labor Day. But in this video, talking about spring and summer, it's kind of a ratio of 1 to 1 right now in Northern Virginia. So that means that pricing tends to stay stable. So what 1 to 1 means is that you'll have one house for one buyer. So in the summer, if you start to have 10 buyers or 10 times, you also then have 10 times the seller. So depending on your perspective on when you're buying and selling will basically be you have more houses perhaps to choose from in the summer, but you're going to have more competition. So that's the thing to consider. And so when you have a 1 to 1 ratio, that means that there's one house to one seller. And what that ends up happening is that the pricing trends stay pretty stable between those two seasons. So you might see slightly faster sales peak in the spring, but a dramatic price jump, not a dramatic price jump compared to the summer. Okay, so I just want to say that again. You might see slightly faster sales in the spring, but not a dramatic price jump waiting till the summer. So if you're ready to sell in the spring and it meets your criteria for all the reasons you're selling, by no means do you need to wait until the summer. So if you're thinking about selling, don't stress out about the perfect spring window. The reality is you've got a strong market in both seasons. So if you're curious about what your home would sell for right now in today's Northern Virginia, please feel free to reach out.